Oh yeah, yeah. I had filmed a load of stuff for the VFR, but I fucked up. I ejected a micro SD card. I pulled it out without ejecting, and it corrupted all the SD cards. So now I have nothing of what I've done so far. So basically, I'm going to be taking the bike off the road for the VFR, off the road for the spring. So I'm just going to do some bits and pieces on it. I don't want to go too far into it because it'll just end up being another massive project. So I want to adjust the seat height because it's a bit low because it was for a smaller person. So I've raised that up a little bit, and then need to reinforce that. And then just loads of maintenance stuff. It was misfire, and there was an issue with the ignition unit and stuff. So that's it. It's got a K&N filter, so it's super fast. It's got I think it's an aftermarket cheap OCR. That's where I was messing about trying to get it to work. There's so much stuff on it that is that's just been put in wrong. There's some where it should be lock wire or split pin put through. Someone had put solder through it. Like, I don't get it. People should just leave stuff alone. I mean, not everyone's going to be an expert. I'm not an expert, but they just think about stuff before you do it, or just don't do it. I guess people's self-preservation isn't as in tune as some other people's. We're quite grubby. I'm going to I just cleaned that up a little bit. So this is why I started recording, because I knew I'd just go into full detail. So yeah, I'm going to brush it all up. I still don't know what I'm going to paint it like. However many years when I get it done. So yeah, the exhaust come out the side, which the way it had been done, you couldn't get the wheel off, but I don't know whether that's a normal thing. So yeah, rear caliper needs rebuilding. I did the front ones last year. It did have part stainless exhaust, but instead of it coming out the side, I'm going to do it so it comes up over the wheel underneath the rear seat if I can. It might be a bit tight for space, but I'll see what I can do. So I got the exhaust off the other day. I had to cut some bolts off so the flange is done. It did have a tick on the cylinders, and I think it was just loose bolts on the back. There was a bit of a dodgy ring, but I think it just wasn't all tightened down. I probably did that as well because of how it was done. So anyway, this is where it comes to the back, and that's where it comes out beside the wheel. So I'm going to chop it off here, get rid of this weird join there, and then just put it straight up. I might keep this flange and then reinstate that, just so there's a bit to where I can disassemble it, because I think that'll tuck up behind here. But yeah, that's it. That's what I'm doing at the moment. So I thought I'd record it for now. So quickly, while we just noticed a couple of bits that I haven't got to. While wheel the exhaust. Most of this is because I'm not going to be able to get to it. So I guess eventually it's not the best flowing thing, but eventually I'll get it painted if I was going to do it. But it's just getting the stuff off it. It's a bit nicer than just leaving it all rough. I did just plasma cut the ends off because it was awkward to get a grinder in there, so I thought cut them off, then I can get to them, cut them out clean. Then I'm going to mock them up with here. I'm kind of with that situation where I'm running out of things to do because I need to get little bits and pieces like some bends and little consumables and the likes. So I think I'm going to just mock this up, see if I can get to a point where I'm stuck, and then after that I'll do some under seat bits. I might look at finishing that off, but I'm also waiting on some bolts and stuff for that. So yeah, that's how I've mocked that up to see how the exhaust is going to come out. I did plan on putting it underneath, but there's like no clearance whatsoever, and these Triumph foot pegs have got this little cutout, which I'm assuming it was for an exhaust originally, so as well use that. I was going to cut them off and clean them up, but now they can kind of stay, so I'll mock that up and see where I've got space and where I can get things through, but at the moment it's looking not too bad. So I got the exhaust cleaned up and then noticed that the grill had melted to the exhaust in the front when I was firing it up. Yeah, got that on. That's all ready, so I'm going to have to make a 2-to-1 and order some bends. I've got straight pipe, but I need some bends to make up that last bit there. Then I started making all these bits from here for the sheet metal to make the new under seat tray. The other one would kind of work, but it's full of holes, and the battery sits further back, so it sags down low. So it just looks low and weird. So this way, it's going to make the tail look narrower, thinner. So I've got this template for the back section. I'm going to do it in two just because it's a bit too big to do in one. So I've got this template, so I'm going to mark it out, get all the measurements correct, and then mark them on this aluminium and ready to cut out, and then make sure I've got it all in the right places. Like to the extent where I've gone so meticulous with the measurements and everything, and still there's some imperfections, but I think it works relatively well. I just need to make a couple of little adjustments here, and I left these tabs up to bend down after, so I knew where exactly they were. So I'm going to get them bent and into place, and then fettle this a little bit into it. But yeah, that's so much easier. Although it's tedious to do it with cardboard, it's easy to do it like that than have to keep adding bits on. And I literally can do it with two sections, which is going to be far easier than when I made it with one, and you got to add on, and you get it wrong, and you've wasted a whole bit of material. So it's really recommend it if you're not doing it already. Definitely worth taking the time, and then you can just do the bends sequentially as well, have them in mind. It's quite tricky. I don't have a finger bender or a press brake. I did contemplate making one, but I thought I'd just get it done and I can do that at a later date, or something comes along, you never know. So yeah, can do that and then carry on getting that fettled out and sorted. So yeah, that's it. Bolted in. I bolted it in because I want it. This measurement needs to be critical, so I'm working off this measurement to then make the next section in it. This one's a bit really weird. It's got like 1,000 little bends in it. So I'm just gonna pop that out, and I've marked it where I need to have some extra bits and pieces on there. See if I can get it out the same bit of metal. I might have a cup of tea and tidy up a little bit just before I do that because it's a mess here. So yeah, that's how it is at the moment. Here, and the top bit's a little bit too wide, so what I'm going to do is just cut it back. I did try and flat it back down again, but it's not annealed, so I'm guessing it already looks like it's fatiguing, so I'm going to cut them off to size. I might tack this first, so yeah, cut them off to size and then make sure that it all fits nicely. So yeah, I think I've got most of the sides. I messed up here, so there's a little gap. So once I've got that all tacked up, I'm going to see what I'm doing. So I'm going to start tacking it all together, see how it works, and see if I can remove it. And then where else I'm going to put some bolts in and stuff. So yeah, that's tacked up. It's not perfect, it's a couple of little bits and pieces. So I'm just going to start cleaning it up and zipping it all up together. Most of it will help to weld from the bottom. I might do it from the top as well, just to make it look cleaner. Yeah, that's where we are. Yeah, that's it. It's really ugly on the underside. Just filled them in, and I'm going to grind them down so it don't wobble. It normally takes me about whatever I'm making to get back in the swing of doing alley. There's always loads of variables, and I've not been doing it long, so I get like one decent one in the middle, and then just it starts going wrong again. But that's all it. I've double welded it all just because it looks a bit cleaner. Look a little bit nicer once it's cleaned and ground up, and then I'm going to put it in. I'm probably going to put a front on it because the battery then won't slide forward, and yeah, that's it. So that'll be nice and capped. I'm a bit concerned about water getting around the side of it, but we'll see. I might have to end up putting a lip on here to seat on top of the frame, and then seal around that, and I might put another bar at the back to bolt it on here because there isn't anything there as is. But what I'm going to do is put the rest of the hardware on, the lights and everything, and then hopefully I should be able to see. Well, there's no point in doing it now and then have to move it around again after. That's it. I don't think it looks too bad. I'll make it all so it's one thing, so it's spot on. But yeah, we'll see. This is the front bit where I'd like to cap it off so it can't move forward, because there's a little bit of room, enough room for that to fit in there. And then I'm probably going to trim these off depending on how they look. So now that's all in, I need to start doing the wiring and reroute all that. So yeah, that's the pack. It's a lot cleaner than I thought it was going to be. I'm going to unpick all these wires and double check them, lengthen everything that needs to be lengthened, and fix everything. There's these like dodgy little connectors that were just thrown on. Let's keep going, resolder all this, clean it all up, and then redo the battery terminals because they're no, I'll have to redo it because that one doesn't reach. So I'm going to lengthen that one, fix a couple of bits and pieces, clean everything up, put battery strap in, weld a bit on the front, weld a bit on the front, and that's about it. I'll check on the back and see how it all there. What I'm going to do for covering on the back here. But that's more or less where it is, so I can just open it all up, clean it up and repack it. I'm not sure I really want to shorten a lot of wires and that, but I'll see how I'm feeling, and then that should be it. It was a relatively tight pack on it. I'm surprised it's not touching in more places, but it's fine, there's clearance everywhere and it's worked. I'm chuffed.